So do we really need to talk about it? About a fashion? Honestly, for sure, we need to talk about it. And it's not a fashion. It's quite fundamental to business. And I would go as far as, for me personally, there are only three things that have happened in the management theory space over the last 60 to 70 years that I really care about because they are quite fundamental. The first one is the introduction of lean in the manufacturing and transactional parts of our businesses. That's one of the fundamental ones. The second big thing was really the introduction of Agile principles and thinking into the software world and beyond. And the third major thing that really made a difference are open platforms and ecosystems and how they contribute to things like open software environments. So there are three different things: lean, agile, and open platform ecosystems that are really different. And what is typical for them? All of them broke with the same paradigm. All of them broke with the paradigm of plannable is the best. And they basically broke this paradigm, said, no, not planning is the best, learning is the best, and contributing from various parts. So replacing planning by learning. And the second thing all those three did was they strongly incorporated the social dynamics of groups into this. And the third thing they did was all of them had accompanying them very, very simple methods that made it tangible for people to make their first steps into this. All of those three. So breaking with the plannable paradigm, including social dynamics, and providing an environment of very, very, very simple tools and methods that help to get things tangible. So it's far beyond just being a fashion of the week. It's one of the three fundamental things that are changing our business. So what is obvious, it needs to spread across beyond the software development community. And I would like to give 4 reasons. And the first one is a quite obvious one. If you take a careful look at our Siemens strategic priorities, which you see on the left-hand side, and you compare them to elements of the original Agile manifesto, you see that there's a close linkage. The linkage becomes even stronger if you listen carefully what Roland and others are talking when they talk about our strategic priorities. It is very, very close to the original principles of the Agile manifesto. So apparently, many things that we know from software development start to find their way really into the business environment. So transferring the learnings that we have in the Agile world into business is of utmost importance for our business because it helps us to solve a couple of problems that the actual business is in. But, and here is why I need you as a community. If we want to accelerate this, if we want to accelerate that business is adopting a lot of the learnings we have for decades now in the Agile environment, then we need to be careful and really work on 3 things that I put down here to and help us to understand it, but also others to understand it. The first one, Agile is not infectious. The second, it is not a religion. And third, Agile is not the answer if you don't know your problem. And I'd like to dig into each of those now. Jumping into the first one, Agile is not infectious. There are books out there that claim that Agile is infectious. This is true to some extent. Because if you're open-minded and really looking for solutions to complex environments, it is very appealing and you can infect individual people with that. However, it is not infectious in a sense that it automatically spreads. Indeed, as soon as you go a little further beyond the small scale operations, you suddenly realize, no, it's really about changing organizational structures, about boxes, about power games, about places or crystallization points of power in an organization. So it is not that it spreads automatically. You need to actively deconstruct a couple of things in your company to allow it to scale. So better don't talk about it as an infectious thing, but something that needs conscious decisions in how you set up your company. The second, and we need to explain this when we go outside our communities and help our businesses transform it. It is cool, it's fun, but you need to go on fundamental things of your business if you want to scale this. And you had a full day of this. Going to the next one, similarly important. Agile is not a religion. If we as a community go out there and tell them, whoa, this is exactly how you must think. This is exactly the truth. If you don't believe the truth, you just have the wrong mindset. This is not what is helpful, because religions do not allow doubt. Religions are difficult to accept for people who come from a different background. So if we are too much in the evangelization mode, we might not reach the people that we need urgently to transform our company in structures, in organizations, in thinking. So it's not a religion. And the third thing is, and this is very closely linked to that, it's not a religion topic. It is not the answer if you don't know your problem. This is also something we need to convey as a community very clearly to the business. If you don't know your problem, don't introduce an Agile initiative. Think about what your problem is for two reasons. First, Agile might not be the solution. If you're in a very plannable environment, Agile is not necessarily the best thing to do. If you're in a complex environment, Agile might be, but even then, please be absolutely sure that you're able to phrase your problem before you're starting a big initiative of people running wildly and crazy without knowing what problem to solve. Honestly, this is probably the biggest problem that we currently have, that people throwing Agile initiatives at things that they have not understood. So one part of what we need to do as a community is beyond explaining the methodology, beyond helping them to understand that it's major, beyond making it not a religion, it's also to tell them, be relaxed. I know how to do Agile, but you now need to understand your problem first, and then we can talk. I can even help you understanding your problem, but only then I would help you to run an Agile initiative. So that are three things that I really would like to emphasize when we as a community talk about Agile and want to scale it in the rest of the company. Let's jump back. What I tried to convey with my talk so far is Agile is extremely important. It's extremely important for our business. We as a community need to help the business to understand this. We as a community need to make sure that we sell it to the rest of the business in a way that they understand, that we don't sell it as a religion, that we help them to understand their problems first, that we help them by giving them education about tools, about frameworks, about principles, about values, but at the same time really understand as a community how big this challenge is. And therefore I put up this slide because it shows nicely, if you really want to understand what you're doing, you really need to understand the tool side of things, the framework side of things, the organizational side of things, the principles, the values behind this. So Lean is far more than just a few methods. And we as a community, we need to understand all this and then make it very, very simple in transforming it individually to our businesses. And there's no one-fits-all method. We as a community, each one of us need to think permanently, what is for the specific environment's context where I can influence this company? What's the best way to teach and let the company experience all those many things? Because Agile is simple, yet it's also very complex. I have a very, very clear call to actions after now many, many years promoting Agile. We as a community need to help our business. First thing is help to translate. Agile is not trivial. We need to help our business to understand. Second, listen carefully. People outside our community are not stupid. They have reasons to tell you what they are afraid of. They have experience. Listen carefully. Only then you can do the third thing, building bridges. Translate and listen, build bridges. Our people come from paradigms of plannable environments. They come from paradigms of waterfall systems. They come from experiences, successful experience for many years that are all but Agile. If we want to move them into an Agile world, we need to translate and we need to listen. And the last thing is obviously something that helps me in my current position. If there are things where you said that would be something that would help us as an Agile community on this journey, let me just know. Not that I could do everything that you ask me, but at least I know where I can contribute best. And with this, I would hand over into our Q&A and say a big thank you for joining this great conference.